The Nintendo Switch rumor mill right now is going pretty crazy. There's a lot of information coming out, both concrete fact and then some subsequent rumors that are coming from this concrete fact. Now, of course, late last night, Nintendo released their financial reports, so I want to go over that for the last quarter, talk about what Nintendo is doing, talk about Switch sales and game sales, and then I want to talk about these rumors that are heating up the internet right now because they're coming from a very credible source. So what are these rumors? How is the Nintendo Switch doing? Sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into this stuff.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So like I said, Nintendo's financial report went out late last night, and there's a lot of interesting information here. We got some updated Switch sales statistics, we have updated game statistics, and there's a lot of crazy stuff involving Smash Brothers, and then Nintendo actually changed their projected forecast for the Nintendo Switch. So starting things off, the Nintendo Switch has sold 32.27 million units total since it has been released, and that's a pretty crazy statistic. The system is obviously selling very, very well right now. There's a lot of top-notch games coming out for it. 2019 for many feels to be the year of the Nintendo Switch, of course, with the PS5 or the PS4 and the Xbox One sort of going on the way out, the PS5 and the Xbox One successor looming on the horizon. You also have 14.49 million Nintendo Switch units sold in the last quarter. Now, of course, Nintendo came out and said they wanted to sell 20 million units in the fiscal year, but it does not look like they are going to meet that number. They've actually lowered that number from 20 million to 17 million. And, you know, not a huge deal. I honestly thought that 20 million was a bit high, especially when you looked at the lineup of games that were coming out on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, something like Smash Brothers has been a huge success for the Nintendo Switch. I thought Pokemon Let's Go may have sparked it a little bit more because obviously it's Pokemon and people really like Pokemon, and Pokemon Go was very popular as well, but they did lower that from 20 million to 17 million. Between the months of October and December, the Switch sold 9.4 million systems. So obviously a bulk of those system sales came from the holiday season. We of course saw that in NPD reports for the United States that the Nintendo Switch was selling very well. It was outselling the PS4 and of course the Xbox One in Japan because Xbox just doesn't sell in Japan for whatever reason. So a huge chunk of those numbers came from the holiday season. Obviously games like Pokemon Let's Go and Smash Brothers did help spur that on. Now, as far as the best-selling Nintendo Switch games are concerned, we do have an updated list, and there is a new king at the top of the list. You might remember that Super Mario Odyssey was for quite a while the #1 selling Nintendo Switch game. Well, that has been overtaken by Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is sitting at 15.02 million units worldwide. Super Mario Odyssey is now in second place with 13.76 million units worldwide. And you might remember that after Super Mario Odyssey, you had The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in the #2 spot. Well, that game has actually been knocked down to #4 because Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has sold over 12 million units worldwide, 12.08 million units worldwide. Zelda Breath of the Wild is now at 11.68 million units worldwide. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee combined for 10 million units worldwide. So that's absolutely insane. The amount that Smash Brothers has sold is obviously just absolutely insane. We talked about it on the Spawncast last weekend. We sort of gave our predictions. I said it would be a little bit over 10 million, but over 12 million copies of this game have sold. So do not doubt the power of Smash Brothers, people. This game is obviously one of the most popular games. It will probably end up overtaking Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because when you look at the time frame of how long these games have been out on the market, obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has been out on the market quite a long time compared to, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So absolutely incredible to see. Other games that have sold well, you have Splatoon 2 at 8.27 million, Super Mario Party at 5.3 million, 1-2 Switch at 2.86 million, Mario Tennis Aces at 2.53 million, Kirby Star Allies at 2.42 million, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze at over 2 million with 2.08 million, Octopath Traveler over 1 million, not including Japan. The Nintendo Labo Variety Kit has cracked 1 million, and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker has also cracked 1 million. So obviously a lot of Nintendo games are selling on the Nintendo Switch. That's pretty much, you know, the protocol for these things. Obviously Nintendo games tend to sell Nintendo hardware, but out of this list, you definitely have to give your hat off to Smash Brothers. This game has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of sales, in terms of fan reception, in terms of critic reception. So, you know, great game, and it's really well deserving of being one of the top selling games, and I honestly think it will end up overtaking all these other games and becoming the #1 seller. And the final bit of information worth talking about from Nintendo's investor meeting that's been revealed so far has to be the delay of Mario Kart Mobile. Now, this obviously was supposed to be Nintendo's next mobile game. I think a lot of people were looking forward to it, but this game was supposed to release in March, and we still hadn't gotten any information on it. We haven't seen the game or anything, and now the game has been delayed until summer. So if you've been wanting to play Mario Kart on your mobile device, you now have to wait until the summer. So it's not really a big deal to me. I don't really play mobile games. I would rather just bring my Nintendo Switch with me, but I know some people will potentially be disappointed by this. But yes, Mario Kart Mobile has been delayed until the summer. Now, of course, with the facts out of the way, we have to talk about the speculation, because now a lot of people are talking about a new published report by a Japanese publication called Nekai. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. I will probably say Neki for the remainder of this video because, I don't know, it's just easier for me to say. But Nekai has been pretty spot on with a lot of their reports in the past. It's a big Japanese publication. They seem to have a somewhat working relationship when it comes to Nintendo stuff. And Nekai is reporting that Nintendo will be releasing a smaller Nintendo Switch in 2019, along with some additional online services as well. So the excerpt from this report is coming to us translated from Nintendo Everything. I'll have a link to it in the description box down below. But basically it reads as follows. They're taking measures as for what is to come, one of those being a smaller version of the Switch. The company said that they couldn't comment on their plans for the product, but has informed multiple suppliers and game development companies that they intend to release them as early as 2019. According to their affiliates, they're miniaturizing the console with portability and playing outdoors in mind, as well as cutting features to reduce the price and expand the user base. So to me, that pretty much sounds like the successor to the Nintendo 3DS. Obviously, the 3DS has had a very long life cycle. It's been around for quite a while. I remember going to a Walmart and getting my Nintendo 3DS at launch at midnight with Street Fighter because, I don't know, I just really wanted Street Fighter. So it's definitely the end of the Nintendo 3DS. It's had a great run. Obviously, Nintendo is shifting their bigger projects from the Nintendo 3DS to the Nintendo Switch because that's what's selling. And we've talked about things like this before. I know I've been back and forth. Is it a Switch Pro? Is it a Switch Mini? And it could potentially be both, honestly. They could go the route and do two system refreshes with a smaller system to replace the 3DS and then a more powerful system that basically just does better resolution and things like that on the base model of the Nintendo Switch, and then lower the base model price of the Nintendo Switch. Basically have three different SKUs out on the market. But I think a Nintendo Switch Mini makes sense. You want to sort of phase out the 3DS. The 3DS, like I said, has had a great life cycle, but you want people to get on board with the Nintendo Switch. If you could do something like a $200 Nintendo Switch system, maybe with non-detachable Joy-Cons, cheaper plastic, and of course a smaller screen and just a smaller unit in general, I think it would make sense. You would bring some of those 3DS potential customers into the Nintendo Switch, and it would be a good move for Nintendo. But what's really crazy from this rumor from Nekai is that a potential online service for the Nintendo Switch could end up being added to the current one we have. From this report, it says the Switch's monthly online service launched in 2018 and plans to launch a new service aimed at game enthusiasts willing to pay more sometime in 2019. So that's what we wanted from the beginning. We were willing to pay more if you gave us more games and you gave us better online features. So I'm not quite sure why Nintendo even did their base online service. So it does look like they may be expanding upon it. Now, would the Super Nintendo games that were leaked earlier be involved with this service? Obviously, those games are pretty much ready to go, according to data miners. So I'm definitely very interested to see what this expanded Nintendo Switch online service would include. If you're going to include other systems, you're going to include things like the N64, potentially the GameCube, and other retro systems from Sega and TurboGrafx. You got to remember how awesome Nintendo Wii's online service was when it came to retro games, and you definitely do not have that with the Nintendo Switch. So I think a lot of people would be willing to pay more for a more robust online service. That's really been one of the biggest complaints about the Nintendo Switch is a lot of people have said, if you give us a better service, we will pay more. We do not mind paying more as long as the features match the price. But honestly, I'm pretty interested in this stuff. Nekai is a very reputable source when it comes to information based on Nintendo. Their track record is very, very good. So I would not be surprised if these two things come to fruition. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch's online service is kind of weak right now. It does need some sort of advancements. And if people have to pay more for these advancements, I think they would be willing to do that. And a smaller Switch just makes sense. But all in all, a lot of great things are happening at Nintendo. Switch sales are doing great. Smash Brothers is selling well. A lot of games are selling well. And I think they really need to do this because 2019 is for many the year of the Nintendo Switch. Like I said, you got the PS4 and the Xbox One winding down. Now is the time to strike, so I'm definitely very interested to see what the future holds for the Nintendo Switch. But that's all the information I have for you guys, so let me know in the comments section down below if you're surprised by any of this. Are you surprised that Nintendo lowered their forecast for the Nintendo Switch from 20 million to 17 million? And of course, what you think about the Switch Mini and these upgraded online features that you would have to pay for? Would you be willing to pay for a more robust online experience? And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel. Yesterday we talked about a very weird Nintendo Switch game. Honestly, the weirdest game I've ever played in my life, but it's kind of fun. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.